The world watched in shock. President John F. Kennedy, the charismatic leader of the free world, was gone, gunned down in Dallas, Texas, on November 22, 1963. The news spread like wildfire, leaving a trail of disbelief and despair in its wake. As Americans grappled with the sudden loss, questions began to surface. Who was responsible? Was it the act of a lone gunman, as the official narrative suggested? Or was there something more, something darker, lurking beneath the surface? In the midst of this uncertainty, all eyes turned to Fidel Castro. The Cuban leader, a constant thorn in the side of the United States, was no stranger to controversy. His fiery rhetoric and unwavering defiance of American imperialism had made him both a hero and a villain on the world stage. Now, with the assassination of President Kennedy, Castro found himself at the center of a global mystery. On November 27, 1963, just 5 days after Kennedy's assassination, Fidel Castro stepped up to the podium at the University of Havana. The atmosphere was electric, thick with anticipation. Thousands of students and supporters had gathered to hear their leader speak. Castro, dressed in his trademark olive-green fatigues, exuded an air of quiet confidence. He began by expressing his condolences to the American people. He acknowledged the tragedy of Kennedy's death, a man he recognized as a formidable adversary. But his tone quickly shifted. Castro's words became sharper, more pointed. He began to weave a narrative that challenged the official U.S. government account of the assassination. The world listened with bated breath. Castro meticulously dissected the official narrative, highlighting its inconsistencies and raising uncomfortable questions. He questioned the speed and accuracy of the alleged assassin, Lee Harvey Oswald. Could a former Marine with questionable marksmanship skills have pulled off such a feat? Castro didn't think so. He pointed to Oswald's alleged ties to pro-Castro groups, suggesting a deliberate attempt to frame Cuba. Castro argued that the assassination was a conspiracy, orchestrated by elements within the United States itself. He suggested that right-wing extremists, angered by Kennedy's attempts to thaw relations with Cuba and the Soviet Union, were the most likely culprits. He painted a picture of a shadowy network of powerful individuals who saw Kennedy as a threat to their interests. Section 4. The bullet's trajectory, an impossible feat. Castro delved into the technical details of the assassination, focusing on the infamous magic bullet theory. The Warren Commission, tasked with investigating the assassination, claimed that a single bullet had passed through Kennedy's body and then wounded Texas Governor John Connally, who was riding in the front seat. Castro, with a touch of theatricality, dismissed this as preposterous. He argued that the bullet's trajectory, as described by the commission, defied the laws of physics. Castro's words resonated with many who harbored doubts about the official explanation. He provided a counter-narrative, a lens through which to view the assassination as a product of deep-seated internal conflicts within American society. Section 5. Castro's closing remarks, a call for truth. Castro concluded his speech by calling for a full and transparent investigation into Kennedy's assassination. He challenged the United States to confront the uncomfortable truth, even if it meant exposing its own internal divisions. His words, delivered with conviction and passion, left an indelible mark on the global consciousness. Castro's speech at the University of Havana was more than just a commentary on the Kennedy assassination. It was a defining moment in the Cold War, a stark reminder of the deep mistrust and suspicion that existed between the United States and Cuba. And while Castro's claims of a domestic conspiracy were met with skepticism by many in the West, they resonated deeply in Latin America and other parts of the world, fueling anti-American sentiment and solidifying Castro's image as a defiant symbol of resistance against U.S. imperialism. The world had just witnessed a masterclass in political theater, and the aftershocks of Castro's speech would continue to reverberate for decades to come. Subscribe now to help us bring more forgotten stories like this. It's free and motivate us to bring you the most interesting stories worthy of analysis.